Okay, I'm so excited about today. So Sami is a dear friend of mine. I'm actually going to pull up your bio so everybody can learn a little bit about what you do and how you came to doing what you're doing. And then we're going to go into some questions and we're going to hear about the 4 types of kiddos as well. So Sami Bell is the founder and author of S.U.R.E Parenting, Building Blocks to Create Their Best Childhood. Sami got her, in fact, I have your book on my shelf. I should have brought it.
I have mine here.
Okay, cool. Show
on
the
my journal.
It's beautiful. Yes. Yay. Okay. Sami got her degree in elementary education, additional certification in early childhood education, and taught first grade and preschool. When Sami became a parent, she knew only one thing. She was utterly determined to be the last link in the generational chain of trauma and abuse. Now she teaches parents to live in self-honor and understand the unique brain types in their family so they can parent with respect and empathy, overcome their fears and triggers, and create the secure attachment that leads their children to success. She offers online classes as well as group and one-on-one consultations to coach parents. She has a YouTube channel, podcast, Facebook community for ongoing free support. All of her links are available on her website, S.U.R.E Parenting.com. And in 2019, Sami moved from Las Vegas, Nevada to Meridian, Idaho, where she homeschools, gardens, runs her practice from home with her husband, Justin, sons, Xavier and Revan, and daughter, Kaylin. Yay, welcome, Sami.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yay. So we were talking a little bit ahead of time about, I love the 4 types because I think it really helps me, first of all, because I have my Izzy with my challenge, right? And I can just know that, she's a type 4, I'm pretty sure, but I'm gonna have to review with our chat here. And the tools that I have because of you to kind of help us go through those kind of gridlocks have been totally invaluable. So I'm going to turn it over to you to explain the 4 types of kiddos.
All right. So I have taken many different sources. I mean, everybody knows there's all kinds of personality typing things out there. And I have created my own 4 brain types of kids that I've been using probably for about 5 years. And so far, we haven't found a kid that doesn't fit. If you have one, I want to study them. Do share. So this isn't something that's like empirically tested. Take it or leave it. However, I have found it to be remarkably beneficial in exactly what you said. Understanding that this kid, while they challenge us, they're not waking up in the morning going, how can I drive my mother crazy? They have a different brain. And when we understand what their brain is doing and where they're coming from, it makes it a lot easier to strategize how to relate to them and to help them meet the goals that we have for them and that they have for themselves. So my 4 brain types, in order of who I typically see the most, are the first one is called the enterprising brain type. And the enterprising kid is very determined. They are a go-getter. They are very physical. Oftentimes when they're young, they like run into your body, climb all over you. They want to like seem like they're trying to get back inside. They respond well to big bear hugs. They need to roughhouse and play in really big physical ways. They also, their determination allows them to hyper focus on things and block out their auditory system. So this is the kid where you're like talking to them and you're like, hello, can you even hear me at all? And they can't. And you have to sometimes make a physical contact to their shoulders, to their neck, to something. So they're like, oh my God, you're there. What, huh? And it's fascinating if you, like me, hear absolutely everything and get distracted by every noise under the sun, how they can possibly not hear you. But it's a part of their brain. They are typically not quiet. They tend to just barrel through life. And what's awesome about that is that they're not ones to be stumped by many obstacles. They're like, okay, well, I'll either go over it or under it or around it or straight on through it, most likely. And they'll figure it out. They'll find a way to get what they want. And when you are trying to set up boundaries for a child, that can be incredibly annoying. And when they are adults and they are Fortune 500 company leaders or successful entrepreneurs, that skill set is cha-ching, like the exact thing that we want. So enterprising kids I see the most in my practice because they give their parents a run for their money. They're also the kinds of kids that then become really successful. So it sometimes helps to put some perspective to their challenging traits, to kind of flip that coin over. Like, okay, yes, they're really stubborn. Also, they persevere through challenges, right?
Yeah.
And find that other way.
I'm not the physical enterprising soul. Anyway, as we get to be adults, right, we're a little bit different. But I remember my mom saying, wow, she is so determined. And if I don't squash this spirit, she can do anything in life.
Right. And that's one of my favorite quotes, is that, you know, the wild ones, if we can resist the urge to stamp it out of them, like they can do anything in life. So that's our enterprising kids. The next one is the exact kiddo. Now, the exact kiddo is actually very low in the, you know, physical output of energy, but they're very solid, very strong. They know exactly what they want. They're very black and white thinkers. There is a right way to do it, and the entire world should be doing it that way, or they are wrong. And this child, I see the second most often, because obviously they might have a different opinion than their parent, and they're not easily persuaded. They're very, very strong in their core and who they believe themselves to be, which again can become a beautiful trait when their peers are like, hey, try this, come on. They're like, yeah, no, I don't do that. I literally don't care what you say to me, not happening. And it's comical because they will do that to you when they're 3 and you're like, no, just try it. And they're like, yeah, no, I'm not eating that. That's cool. I'll not eat dinner. I'm not eating that. That will not happen. And they're like a mountain. They are just rock solid. The challenge for them is that they, especially when they're really little, they don't understand why other people don't see things the same way as them. That black and white thinking makes it really hard for them to find the nuance and to, you know, understand, well, yes, your brother's not doing it the way that you want because he has a different way of doing it. Yeah, but that's wrong because it's not my way. So part of their challenge in growing up is to soften some of their black and whiteness, to be able to see nuance, to be able to understand that other people have different ways of doing things.
Yeah, make room.
That's actually okay.
Yeah.
But what's cool about them is, even as adults, they will be able to notice and see problems like that. They'll see the gaps, they'll see the holes, and they know how to fix them. The challenge is that they come across quite critical. So they will point out your flaws, even as kids. And you're like, oh, thanks. Thank you for that. You're probably not wrong. So pause and listen and consider, is it possible that maybe that is an area I could work in? What I love the most about my exact child is that he will call me out. And because he's able to do that, our family has the ability to call each other out, because it goes both ways. And when he has a problem with something I've done or said, he'll come tell me, you know, I need to talk to you. I think you were kind of rude earlier. I'm like, oh, tell me about that. And we'll talk. And for those of you that don't know my family, he's 8. So it's a little bit funny when he comes and he's exactly serious like that. He's very serious. But he's not wrong either. Like a lot of the time, he's right. And he has taught me so much about truly respecting another person. And obviously he's a kid and he's learning, and there are boundaries that I will hold that will definitely enrage him. And that's cool because feelings are fine. And he has a lot to teach me too when I let him. So he's definitely been an eye opener for me. So the next one is the engaging kiddo. These kids are balls of sunshine. They're very friendly, very outgoing, very bubbly. They want to talk to everyone under the sun. They have very little, if any, stranger danger. Like they just are like, people, other people, hi people. And usually when I am seeing these kids, it's that is terrifying to their parents. They're just going to walk off with someone at the park, and they probably will. You have to be careful about these ones when they're little, because they don't assess people as dangerous. They assess people as like input, and they need input. They're engaging. They want to engage with people all of the time. And or if they're only children, that can be really challenging for mom and dad because they're tired. They don't want to constantly be engaging. And these kiddos absolutely do. They also, interestingly, have the highest volume, but in spurts. So they'll be playing and playing and playing, and then squeal at the top of their lungs. And then they'll be going and going and burst out in laughter. And they're very fun. They're very, very fun kids. And they have a lot of energy. So the enterprising kids and the engaging kids have a ton of energy. And if mom or dad is an exact kid or exact adult at that point, or an easygoing adult, they have much lower outward energy. And so that mismatch can be like, and if you have an engaging kid, do not feel bad about utilizing other resources. Like if you want them to go to a school setting, that's okay. If you want to homeschool, I know I said in my bio that I homeschool, you might need to be part of a co-op. You might need to have them go play at the neighbor's house, or have them see grandparents or friends that act in the grandparent role, like needing other input because your kid has that much of a drive for connection. That's valid. Some kids are that way.
Izzy is my little sunshine for sure. And she gets to go to grandma's once a week.
Yes. And it's so good for them because they get that input and they get that connection that they've been craving. And your calmer energy gets to go.
Quiet. I'm okay. I should be careful what I say on here, but there are times when it's like, and then Mia goes, isn't her voice going to get sore? Like, how can she talk that long?
Yes, they can talk forever and ever. Often these kids, interestingly, have the hardest time with sleeping, with bedtime, because they don't want to miss anything. They get like severe FOMO. So they want to stay up. And if you are, trying to be this connected parent and you're there with them and you're like, they won't go to sleep and it's been an hour and it's been 2 hours and you might have to literally leave. Like my daughter is this type, partially, and she can't go to sleep, I'd say 8 times out of 10 if I'm in the room. She's just like, hello, what you doing?
I love that you say partially, because it means, so I'm looking at some of these types and going, yeah, each of my kids have a bit of this. And usually with personality types, we have more, dominant traits, but then we share others as well. So
usually I see a primary and a secondary. Every once in a while, I see a real clear 50-50 split for some kids. So in our family, I'll get to the 4th one here, and then I'll tell you my kids. So the 4th one is easygoing. And do not be deceived, easygoing have their own challenges. However, they are lower energy, which is typically easier for parents. And an energy meaning that outward input, the jumping off the walls, spinning in circles for, 12 straight minutes, that kind of stuff. They have energy, it's just inward, right? The exact and the easygoing, they have inward energy. The exact kids are very intellectual. They're always thinking about something and trying to solve a problem and understand something and learn something. The easygoing are deeply, deeply, deeply emotional. So when I have an easygoing kiddo, oftentimes I won't see them until they're in their teens, and they have these really deep feelings and emotions, and their parents are like, what is wrong with them? That's how they are. In order to be really
easygoing, it's totally that. Yeah.
In order to be really easygoing most of the time, you have to be able to deeply sink into your feelings other parts of the time. And when they're little, that can look like sobbing, like seemingly to a ridiculous degree over something that you're like, why does this bother you so much? I don't get it. But for them, they feel it very, very deeply, especially like when it's within a relationship that matters to them. They're very easygoing.
Talking about my middle will stuff it. So it might not be sobbing, but then later down the road, it comes out and it's like a bigger deal. And you're like, where has this been?
Yes. And that's the other part, because they want to be easygoing. That's their trait. That's how they, go along to get along, make everybody get along, and everything will be good and happy. And they like peace. So they tend to sacrifice their own comfort for peace for as long as they can. Absolutely. And then they can't have it anymore.
They do that for their friends, which is
and it can be a challenge for them. It can be the most challenging for them to have conflict. And one of the important things to help them learn is that conflict is essential in a healthy relationship. Conflict doesn't mean punching fights. It means I have an opinion and it's different than your opinion, and that's okay. And we can both share our truths and have that discussion. And at the end of the discussion, we might agree or we might still disagree. And that's okay too. We can part ways and respect each other and still know that we have very different opinions on this topic. And it's excessively difficult for these easygoing kids because the way that they have found to engage in the world is to defer to the strongest personality around in the room. They're like, because they don't typically mind. They're like, yeah, sure, we'll do that. Okay, sure, we'll do that. But then, like you're saying, they'll stuff it. And all of a sudden they're like, yep, I'm done. Absolutely not. Big old feelings coming out here. And so it's helping them to learn how to be more like a tea kettle where they let off till steams at a time. And pausing, teaching them the pause, right? Pause. Think about what you actually want, need, feel, then answer. Their go-to answer is, yeah, sure, whatever. But is it really? And letting them become in tuned with that. It's very easy as a parent to just kind of accept that they're really easygoing because thank God. At least one of them is. But it is valuable to help them to learn that they have their own thinking and that matters too. So in my family, my oldest is an exact brain child. My husband is too. Really rigid, very strong opinions, black and white. This is how things are done right. This is how things are done wrong. So my husband has had to learn some finesse to his critical nature. Something as blunt as, I'm not trying to criticize. I have a thought, right? Okay, I'm ready to receive that thought. But if you just walk into my kitchen and tell me how to cook, who's going to have a fight? But if you're saying, hey, I have an idea, well, I love ideas. Share your idea, so he's had to learn to kind of buffer himself a little bit, but he's an adult. My 8-year-old does not have that skill set quite yet. He's learning, he's practicing, but it's a hard thing for him. And he gets very, very frustrated when other people don't think the way he thinks. It's like, well, they're dumb. Or they have a different opinion. The thing is they apply that to themselves too. If they don't immediately know something, if something's not easy for them right away, then they feel like they're dumb. So that's a part of it too, is, we're all learning. I have a wise friend that told me that if you're green, you're growing. And if you've stopped growing, you're dead. So
always be green and growing.
Yeah, we talk about that in our family, that we want to keep learning. Like that is the goal. So the fact that you don't know something yet, that's an opportunity to learn it. And that's okay. You're 8. I'm hoping you're not done yet. Then my middle is that 50-50. He is easygoing or enterprising. He's very physical. He wants to climb into your skin. He's my climber. When we go to Utah, he wants to hike to the very, 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 very top. He's very physical, but he's also very easygoing, partially because his older brother is so rigid. So from the time he was born, his role in comparison to his brother a lot of times was like, yeah, he cares way more than I do. So like, sure, we'll watch Daniel Tiger again. Like, I care like 3%. He cares like 99%. So I'm just going to go that way. And I was worried about it when they were very young. And now he has his own opinions. He'll express them. He'll make a deal. He did that yesterday. How about we make a deal?
Oh, I love that so much.
And it was so cute. And so he's learning how to express his thoughts and his opinions. And sometimes it's a matter of saying, okay, hold on, let's let him speak, because he needs time. He's that slow flowing river, right? So he needs to process and think and have a moment and then express his thoughts. And for enterprising or exact people that are go, 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 solve the next problem, get the next thing done, it can be hard to slow down into that easygoing mode. And it's also really, really valuable, because I will say that the one thing that the easygoing kids are allergic to is pressure. You're trying to push them to do something. They're just like, stop it, too much. Slow down. We probably all could benefit from a little bit of slowdown. So that's what I learned from him, is to slow down, connect, listen, give him space and time to process, and then learn what he's going through so that I can help him move forward. And about, yes, he does the stuffing. He stuffs things, and then my youngest is largely engaging, also pretty easygoing. Although I will say that a lot of engaging kids feel pretty chill when they're getting engagement. That's what they want, and they're very happy about it. So yes. Well, the great thing about being the youngest, though, is that she's got 2 brothers plus me plus dad, and she's so cute. And so she's like, I can get engagement from someone somewhere, I promise. Yeah. And she always does, like always. But she has to have some of that easygoing, because she will go play by herself, which is very challenging for engaging kids to play by themselves. Very, very, very challenging. But easygoing kids and exact kids have a pretty easy time. And actually enterprising kids have a pretty easy time with that. Exact kids get frustrated because it's not working. Enterprising kids will want to build and like create or destruct. They really like to destruct. And then the engaging kid, they really just want people. They're like, I want to talk to people. I want to see people. During the pandemic, those kids really struggled, like really, really struggled. So, we have a friend whose kiddo is like highly engaging, and they'll just Zoom, and I'll just hand the phone to a kid, and they'll run around the house showing each other things and talking to each other. And I'm like, you go for it. Engage each other. Fantastic. Because they're in a different state. So it's not like we can meet up and do that. But yeah, so those are the 4 different brain types that I use. And what I found is that if you have the exact same brain type as your child, it can either be a great thing or a really bad thing, depending on the type, right? If you're both easygoing, that can be pretty beneficial. You can both kind of go with the flow. The challenge can be that you still have to be the confident leader sometimes as a parent, and you might not want to. It might just want to be that easygoing, but you really have to. I'm pretty
sure that's me. Yeah. And then I'm like, well, you could persuade me. wait, I'm the parent.
Right. And if you have an exact kid that's like lawyering, that's the word I'm looking for, lawyering you all the time, you're like, this is a really good argument. I like this, right? And there's a benefit to that, and there's a skill set to that. And still, there are family roles that you want to set and hold, even when they have big feelings about it. Those big feelings are how they process through the frustration of not getting what you want, not being able to change the things that are unchangeable, all of those things that are hard to learn, but important to learn. And when they get through the feelings of it, they hit what's called a wall of futility. And then they get to acceptance. It's very similar to our stages of grief. They're like, they grieve about it, then they're mad about it, then they want to bargain about it, and then they finally get to acceptance. And that's for us to hold those boundaries. And it's not about all the things all the time. It's fine to change your mind if you genuinely are changing your mind, but teaching yourself to pause and go, what do I need, think, feel, believe? Okay, yeah, I can change my mind on this one. And then sometimes, yeah, I'm really not. For me, one of my boundaries is I won't let my kids spend the night at other places. They can go hang out, they can stay late, but like for me, I have a boundary around that. And they will likely push that. They haven't yet, but they will. I'm sure of it. They will want to. And I will have to be able to create the space for me to really think for myself, is this something that I need to do, need to hold, or not? I'm an easygoing and engaging person. Easygoing is my primary. I much prefer it. But I learned when I was young that developing the engaging skills was something that could help me in life. So I did, and I can use it. And then I get really, really, really tired and need to hide.
I love it that there was a meme in the pandemic that really made sense to me. They were like, extroverts need your introverted people. Your extroverted friends need your help. They don't know how to do this. And I was like, it's interesting because I sometimes consider myself extroverted. I love people, but I recharge by being alone. So I'm an extroverted introvert. Mm-hmm. So it's funny that all of this is bringing up so many different, I love how there's overlaps to other, you've done a lot of research, right? So I wouldn't say that this is not a really well kind of researched and thought out 4 types. But in the last 3 minutes, I want to ask a couple of questions. Your book, so it would have, I would assume, has some tools on how to deal with each of these 4 types, the things that would be most beneficial for them.
Yes, there absolutely is. And then in addition, there are the building blocks of S.U.R.E Parenting. So it looks like these.
Awesome.
So the first one is the goals that we have for our kids. Then the way that we need to parent to reach those goals, what we need to parent that way, how we develop those skills, and then the key to it all. So the 5 goals I typically see from parents is I want my kids to be happy. I want them to be successful or progress in whatever goals. I want them to be respectful. I want their cooperation, and I want to have a trusting relationship. The way you parent is connection, calmness, confidence, and creativity. You need vulnerability, gratitude, and leadership in order to parent that way. You develop those 3 skills with empathy and perspective. And the root of all of it is self-honor, knowing yourself, honoring who you are, being able to be true to yourself, get the support that you need, get rid of the shame. We spend a lot of times as mothers in a place of shame, and it does not help us. And there's this framework to help you learn yourself, to be able to say, like, this is who I am as a mom, and that's just as valid as somebody else,
Now, is that that's the old cover, and the one that you that showed us in the beginning was the new cover, correct?
This is actually a journal that I created.
Oh, a journal. Okay.
So this is Discovering the S.U.R.E Parent Within, with 52 prompts. So can be for a week or for once a week for a year. Just to kind of think through your own parenting goals, what you need to learn about yourself to kind of delve in a little deeper. So yeah, this is the same book. This is a new book. And both of those are available on my website or Amazon.
I love it. Well, Sami, thank you so much. This has been so informative. I love the review, and then also being able to kind of ask those questions and see how it all fits. I'm excited to go reread your book. I read it like whenever it first came out. How many years ago was that?
Oh, 5 maybe?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Maybe. Yeah.
4? I don't know. Something like it's been a while.
Yeah. So I love
There's an audiobook now though. So that's exciting.
Awesome. Oh, I might do that. But yeah, I love that it's, kind of tried and true. It's something that's been really illuminating for me. I love to be able to go, okay, in those frustrating moments, this is something that will serve later. Okay, I'm not going to squash it. I'm going to extend that legacy that my mom gifted me. So beautiful. Again, S.U.R.E Parenting.com. And we're going to stop the recording here, and we're going to go into question and answer. So hold on really quick. Yay.